en mi jardín. Las blancas azucenas, los nardos y las rosas. Mi alma muy triste y pesarosa, a las flores quiero ocultar su amargo dolor.
Can a documentary filmmaker capture that turning point when people ultimately choose to commit violence, why they do it, and how to prevent it? This is a story about three sets of filmmakers who tried to document the dynamics of conflict for an Oxfam International arms control campaign. Along the way, we decided not only to learn how they approach our stories, but also to turn the cameras on the filmmakers themselves.
Si supiera lo que estoy.
In September 2010, Oxfam International invited Hilo magazine to go behind the scenes of their project, shootingpoverty.org. Austin Thorson, an Oxfam arms control advocate, joined forces with Lucas Goth, cameraman and producer of the Sundance Grand Jury nominated film Sins of My Father, to premiere 3 short films produced with emerging filmmakers focusing on the link between poverty and violence. In Brazil, Ludmila Cury and Guilherme Arruda, professional journalists, along with researcher Thiago Vieira, directed a short film about the controversial music of MC Smith, who took on gangsters and police fighting for control of the favelas of Rio de Janeiro just months before his arrest by the authorities on the charge of allegedly inciting violence with his music.
Uma operação aqui no Complexo da Penha, no Complexo do Alemão, Caveirão, Blaze da Bop
e da Força Nacional. Dá toque pros amigos, desentoca o arsenal. Ponto 31
I think it was the first time he was really recorded by a camera, and his reference was just the things he see, and we really wanted to do something different.
Yeah, and his point was he would like just to show good things. And he said, no, the movie is not about you. The movie is about your music and weapons. You're just using your music. You're going to be our main character. You're going to be our voice to show this problem. And then he accepted that, and he started talking the truth.
Yeah, I think it was his first reaction was quite common.
On the other side of the world, media producer Seth Chase and UN staffer Brice Blondel directed their short, Bang for Your Buck, about a grisly series of grenade murders in Burundi, where the price of grenades had fallen to as low as $1.
We feel honored and privileged to do this film, and it's essentially because it was shocking when I first read, when I lived there, and when I arrived, a grenade cost $1. And I couldn't believe it, because I was one of those people that grew up that thought, who can afford weapons? They must be so expensive.
A third winner, Chandam Natraj, directed a short film April 6th about how a series of political attacks had left a number of mothers widowed without income in India.
The goal of Shooting Poverty, the project, was to show the impact that weapons have in societies, in different societies throughout the world. Like we were saying today, it's very often that we constantly hear about number statistics, about what guns will do, but we don't usually put a face to it.
Que me da la vida. Si supiera lo que estoy.
Filmmakers often face barriers to documenting a story, like distance, language, security, permission, the level of cultural openness, and of course, funding. Especially with the subject of violence, will the act of pursuing the story eventually change it? Will people be reluctant to tell the truth about painful or embarrassing events? What if documenting the story lands the subject in jail?
We'd be in a hospital. Okay, were there any grenade attacks? This woman just came in 2 days ago. Her family was attacked by a grenade. That's perfect. Where is she? Can we talk to her? Then you talk to her and you see her, you get hit by the first wall of emotion, like she just lost her entire family in a grenade attack. And then it's like, right, we're gonna film you, let's get you on a mic, and okay, tell us about that event. And then it's just like, you don't feel like, you realize you're not there to counsel or do any trauma counseling, you're there to make them revisit the worst moment of their life, and you feel a bit dirty when you leave the room. That was the first thing that,
and this is a very good example, because when we did that interview with that woman, we came with a whole set of questions and asked the first one, so tell us what happened. And she says, a grenade was thrown in my house a couple of days ago, and my husband and daughter died on the spot, and my son was away, and so like you realize that she's lost her entire life. And like, okay, second question, you're completely lost and you blank out and you're like...
We didn't remember any of the questions, we were sitting there like...
Yeah, and we spaced after it.
We realized we're not professionals. We didn't have a game plan.
Let's get back to...
Yeah. And
so we took a moment and then came back and...
Smith, our main character, in the first days of shooting, he always said, "Oh, I just like to, my music, to just sing the good things from the favela," and I say, "Come on, listen to this. It's not good things you are singing, you know. So you can tell us the truth. You know, you can understand that you are just reporting a situation."
Yeah, we had to tell him, we are going to show you music. We are going to talk about this problem. You don't have to act like this doesn't happen. And he was like, all right, fine, okay.
Que me da la vida. Si supiera.
After they completed their projects, Ludmila, Guilherme, Seth, and Brice flew to New York to present the films alongside Lucas and Austin at the United Nations and at Tribeca Cinema. When Hilo turned the camera on the filmmakers themselves, we found that each of them had had their own experience of surviving violence, which informed in some ways their approach to their stories.
6 years or 7 years ago, I was dropping out my girlfriend at her house, and two guys with guns, they put their car in front of mine, and which one of them went to the side of the car, one put a gun that close to my head, and the other did the same thing to my ex-girlfriend head, and they got the car, got everything, money, even my shoes, and that was really terrifying. At the end of everything, my ex-girlfriend fainted, and that was a terrible moment. I think I could die, because they were like, they looked like they had used drugs, some kind of drugs. And I said, wow, they can shoot at any moment, but everything ends okay. But I stayed some months without driving, afraid of it, but then you get used to the violence, unfortunately, you know? I
was invited to an expatriate, a U.S. Embassy poker game, and I had won. Texas Hold'em poker, I won about $250. And then I was walking home, and these street kids kind of came out, 3 of them, and I thought, oh man, now I'm just going to get into a fight here. This is a bummer. I got to start making noise. And it was perfect timing. No one was around. And then, so I'm in this literal fight with these 3 street kids. They have rocks and they're kind of beating me up, and I'm beating them embarrassingly. I didn't want to, but I was just sort of fighting and walking to get away from them. 7 more came out, and one of them has a grenade, and he's a young kid, about 15, holding this grenade in me, and you keep looking at it, and while you're looking at it distracted, you're just getting beat by these other kids with these rocks. And they got me off my feet, and they pushed this grenade into my mouth, and they're just pushing it, and they're stealing my money that I just won from poker. Is all I'm thinking. I kept thinking in my head, I hope they don't break my teeth, because it's hitting my teeth. It hurt really bad, and that was a classic thing that happens to so many people. But it was the only time I've seen a robbery with a grenade situation, because it's a strange play. You blow everyone up. But you use it as a distractive technique, and I thought it was a pretty effective thing.
I think what I bring to my work from my reality is more the disparity that I see in our society in Brazil and in Rio. That's where I live. And I don't really feel afraid when I go to the favelas or when I see guys with guns like walking in these places. It's not that I don't have feelings. It's just that I think I can feel the problem as much bigger than what it appears. So I think what I take to my film, to my work, is the feeling that there is a big social problem that must be told, and not that I'm afraid of this reality.
Essentially, the projects that I've been involved with that have guns are projects that have shown, have shown violence, but have also shown characters who are trying to make a better world, who are trying to find peace, and who are trying to make this disappear. The same situation that I lived when I was younger, where fortunately neither of my parents were shot, but they were held at gunpoint more than once just to be mugged. I mean, there wasn't even a reason. It's not justifying political reasons, but in this case there was no reason. It was just a wallet, and I had to see it, and my sister at the time, 8 years old, had to see it, and I mean, I guess it's just good. It's bad to know that this happens everywhere, but it's good to find these people who are trying to change it, who are looking for a better world actively every day.
Getting to know Brice, Seth, Ludmila, Guilherme, Lucas, and Austin revealed shootingpoverty.org poised at the starting line. Taking a closer look at how they made their films taught us that it may be relatively simple to film the what, when, and where of violence, but it takes a special kind of empathy from a filmmaker to capture why violence happens and how to prevent it.
Que están durmiendo los nardos y las azucenas. No quiero que sepan mis penas.